All right, morning everyone. Thank you, Singapore Polytechnic, for having me here today. It is an honor to be sharing with you our journey at SaladStop, and especially how we think about sustainability and the customer of the future. We think about innovation a lot, and I think we've learned a lot that it's not really a linear process. It is one that comes with a lot of ups and downs, a lot of trials, and I think we've had our fair share of challenges, which I'm happy to share with you today. So we started SaladStop in 2009 and really looking at providing a simple, healthy option for Singaporeans. So I think the concept was born with really looking at something that would be affordable, something that would be approachable, and trying to just solve a simple need. If you remember, Singapore at 2009 was the days of MBS, was the days of ION. I guess, Singapore was changing quite a bit at that time. And I think we sort of really looked at how could we provide an option that was also going to be exciting. I think the perception of healthy food at that time was that it was boring. And obviously, we're all very lucky with the food options here. But I think Singaporeans were looking for something a little bit different. That evolved in 2015 with people asking us a lot more questions about where the product was from. We had questions about the spinach being organic, if our cheeses were pasteurized, if our meats were antibiotic, hormone-free. And this is where we started providing a lot more nutritional transparency around our products. And we launched a website that basically provided the full nutritional breakdown of every ingredient. And then through COVID, we saw another large change. And the conversations we had with our customers there were more about the food choices they were making and the impact that would have on the planet. And this is where we really sort of took the next big step to carbon label our entire menu. So we actually went through a 2-year process to identifying every ingredient, our supply chain, speaking to all of our partners, and allowing them to offset that footprint on the SaladStop app. So this was really from customers telling us that they do want to make a difference. They want it to be convenient. And also they were starting to ask us about plant-based options. Could they lower their carbon footprint in other ways? And so we expanded our menu quite a bit into that space. And for the first time, we also launched the homegrown salad, which launched 3 years ago, but we had a new edition in August actually. So you just missed it, but next August you'll see this salad come back. And this salad was us really challenging ourselves and our supply chain to see what could be 100% grown in Singapore. So everything you see on that picture is actually grown on our little red dot. The Tyndall is a plant-based chicken grown in Singapore or in a factory. Kinyen works a lot with us on mushrooms, but here they extended that to wing beans and even did cherry tomatoes. We work with a hydroponic farm called Sustaneer, so they do all of our hydroponic kale. We worked with NNN for the eggs. So this was an exercise now that, 3 years in the making. I think we always tried to sort of push the envelope, see how far we could go. And most importantly, bring it in at a price point that works. So this salad sells for $13.90. And so again, trying to be affordable, but trying to showcase what is possible. And once again, listening to our customers. We also, over time, incentivize people to bring their own bowls. And also, if they chose plant-based options, we'd give them a free topping. We gave them also 50 cents off if they brought their own beverage cup. And then we also had something, just a fun element at the bottom there, where we had a borrow tree. So basically, people would fill the tree full of bags, and it was sort of a forward mechanism where you could then just borrow a bag if you didn't have one, or we would charge you 10 cents for a bag. So we were actually the first in Singapore to charge for a plastic bag. And not that we were profiting from this, everything went to WWF, but it was more to challenge customers to say, do you really need a bag? You actually need to put that bowl in a bag to go back up to your office. Can you just bring it upstairs without the bag? So we had worked on a lot of sustainability initiatives, over the years, and I think, in many ways that is baked into our DNA. But we felt that we could really take another big step, and that evolved into our first net zero store. So I'll show you a video now where you'll see how far we pushed the envelope and the partners we worked with. All right, thank you. So this store opened about a year ago at Capita Spring. If you're ever in the CBD, pop in and have a look. This we consider as a living lab. So you won't see this store ever again or just in a different form. But we really use this to learn a lot and again try to see how our customers interacted with this space. Here we worked with two companies. One is called Pomeroy Studio. They're a design firm focused a lot around sustainability. So they really helped us bring down that carbon footprint on the construction, which was the first time we actually tackled the actual built environment here. And then we worked with Unravel Carbon to actually calculate the carbon footprint of the construction and the operational piece as well. So we wanted to make sure that as we put this out, a net zero store, we could validate it and stand behind it. I think the last thing we wanted is for customers to question this, and we actually couldn't be to back this up. So this was a big step for us. Again, this took us about 2 years to bring together. We also worked with quite a few other partners that you saw in the video. I think one of the most difficult pieces, and once again, when I say you'll probably only see this once, is that the tiles that you see on that arc were actually hand molded by the corporate office. So we spent 2 months melting bottle caps given to us by Semcorp and molding them into 5,000 tiles. So that was a big exercise, but I think, again, proved to us what we could do. And I think what we could do in Singapore, I think this is probably the most challenging market to put a store like this together. We were able to source some items such as our chairs that were already made out of recycled plastic. We took fallen trees in Singapore, turned those into tables. And we were also able to work with Deliveroo actually for their first carbon neutral delivery. So actually they changed the algorithm to allow this store to only be picked up by foot or bicycles. So as we worked through this store, I think we did learn a lot, again, from a consumer behavior, but I think we also were able to demonstrate a lot of results. And this was really important for us, back to sort of Don's point. I think measuring this, seeing the impact, but then seeing how we could continue on that journey. How can we take this blueprint and push it even further? So, you know, I know we have quite a few SMEs in the room today, and we think about this as cost as well. And, you know, does this have a return on investment? Obviously, that's still an important metrics. To give you a sense, this store was about 10% more expensive than the store before that. It also now, and especially in this context, as we discuss new locations with landlord, this actually becomes quite a big part of bringing our rental down. So when you look at it net, actually this is a very viable business case because we've actually been able to get that return on investment. In terms of the impact that we've had, we've been able to measure this, across at least the data that we had was restaurants in the US. So this store is about 20% of the average quick service restaurant footprint. We were able to bring down the embodied emissions by 35% versus the last store that we had built at Great Wall City. And because we were in a Green Mark Platinum building, we were able to bring down the energy consumption by 9%. So all of this, obviously, we did not get to net zero. We needed to offset. And that's where we worked with Unravel to make sure that those offsets were bought with the right standards. So we used GHG gold standards here. And we supported projects in Myanmar and in Timor-Leste. So once again, I think, you know, we obviously operate a food and beverage business here. And you know, in order for us to validate this data and have the right guidance, I think we obviously worked with partners. But this ultimately stemmed from what we were hearing from customers, but also think the customer of the future is going to be looking for. And this then led us to our next evolution, which happened recently. So that store was built in 2022. We observed how customers interacted with the space. And then we saw that the missing piece was getting them to actually participate. They would walk into the store, they would give us a thumbs up, say, well done, I support you, probably build some brand equity for us, but didn't actually get them to fully engage. So we worked with 8 Inc., which is an experienced design firm, and said, okay, well, how do we now think about that customer of the future? And what are these customers asking us? So we spent a lot of time and mapping out what it means in terms of their health journey. Because what we realized is actually health for them is personal, and you have to start with the health of the customer. And I'll give you an example, which is how we apply this in our world. If I tell a customer that the hydroponic kale from Sustainier is double in terms of antioxidants versus any other kale in the market, and by the way, it's grown in Singapore, 20 kilometers from the store, and it uses 80% less water, this is where I'm able to connect the dots. And this is how we look to engage with our users moving forward. And so when we think about this kind of omni-channel experience, because we do obviously a lot of our business online as well, we also think about how we can bring that into the store. And so I'll show you a video about the experience master plan that we had built with them, and later about what this new store of the future will look like.
Our goal has always been to help people make healthier choices. Because we know people care about what they consume, about the communities they're part of, about the planet they call home. We understand our customers need support in prioritizing their health in a world fighting for their attention. That is why we're focused on enabling a new generation, Generation Meta Health. A generation not defined by age, gender, or background, but one who demands more from companies, who understand that personal health, their community's health, and the health of the planet are all interconnected. A generation on a journey to find a path to conscious consumption.
Our 14-year journey has led us here. Our deep understanding of nutrition, taste, and traceability across Asia has helped us earn customers' trust, and we take that seriously. Which is why we're evolving beyond our stores, to move from a destination to a platform, from a transaction to a habit, from a healthy choice to healthy living, for everyone, everywhere, throughout their lives.
To do this, we are building an experience ecosystem that reimagines our physical and digital touchpoints, delivered at scale through our proprietary technology and translation engine, providing personalized recommendations to customers wherever they engage with us. To leverage our unique customer and operational expertise to transform new markets, industries, and sectors. This is our ambition, to be the market makers driving change in the food industry. Because Generation Meta Health demands it. Because we believe this is the future of food. Because we can. Because we have already started.
So that gives you a little bit of a sense of where I guess we're trying to bring this whole ecosystem and how a lot of these parts come together for us. But we do obviously a lot of that engagement in our stores. And this is where we worked with 8 Inc. on the store of the future. So this is 1 George Street. It is a store that we look at in 2 ways. One is obviously the materials that we're using. So as minimalist as possible and using materials that also for us are going to be scalable, that we can actually use in every market that we operate, because we want to make sure that we can, again, have a blueprint that works for us at scale. That's really what we try to achieve here. But actually, when you look at the beams here, that is a grid system that is completely modular. So the whole basically store can be taken down and moved somewhere else. So again, from a circularity standpoint, as Don was mentioning, this is really how we're trying to think about our business as well. When we build a store, the carbon footprint is potentially really something that we can use over and over and try to think again about our business differently, right? So we challenged 8 Inc. about how we were to design the store. But once again, going back to how we actually engage with our customers. So when you walk into Salad Stop today, you have rail boards that ask you what your soup of the day is. And I think the team, it becomes a very human interaction, which we still wanted to keep. But we do realize that there are opportunities to really introduce technology here. And this is this big step that we took over the past year where we added this digital ledge. So this screen that you see at the bottom of the salad bar actually becomes an interaction tool for the salad artist to filter your preferences by diet type, but also to be able to do storytelling, to actually engage with you on a lot of different levels. Again, this is where we can let our product shine, but lastly, where we get to engage with you on a sustainability level. So again, we see ourselves as the customer-facing side of this whole ecosystem. And our job here is about how we get to make this, once again, convenient for customers and accessible. So as a customer, and very soon in the next few months, you'll be able to see this at Adobe Court. This ledge allows us now to prompt you directly in terms of how you want to carbon offset your meal. And you'll be able to have 3 options in front of you to say which project would you like to support. And obviously, if you want to know, you can scan the QR code and start being more engaged. If it's the mangrove reforestation project in Indonesia, you'll be able to geolocate exactly the tree that you were able to plant. So this is, again, very early days for us, but it is that journey where we're going to learn a lot, we'll make mistakes, but we're listening to our customers. And I think where we're starting to see that customers are looking for more engagement tools in a convenient way. So this is the digital ledge. We'll also be extending this to our loyalty program, where we'll be giving customers an impact score so they can be looking at the impact on their health, on the health of the community, and the health of the planet. All right, so I think lastly, I spoke a little bit about how our customers have evolved and how we have been listening to them. When we first started, they really wanted to make choices easily and wanted that to be in a convenient format. So I think that's really the need we were trying to address. What we're hearing now is really that they're loyal to maverick businesses that inspire them and align with their values. I think we are hearing a lot about customers demanding more about the businesses they interact with. And this is where the Net Zero Sandbox came in. Again, we're learning a lot through that store, and I think we're applying this at scale. And moving forward, we see that they want to know the impact of their choices. And again, this is our job now to communicate that through technology and the experience master plan we have. So I think in our industry, we obviously think a lot about the impact that we have on the environment and our impact on climate change. The food industry contributes to about 1/4 of those global emissions. And we've seen about 50% of the rainforest disappear in the past 60 years. So I think, we're very aware of the impact we have as an industry. But I think we also need to now all together think about solutions at scale. And we need businesses like yourself to think about innovations and really driving these and pushing these boundaries. We need government agencies to provide the infrastructure and to be able to allow us to scale. And obviously, educators and students to think about innovation in a different way, because businesses sometimes can be restricted, but you have a lot of power in your hands in terms of really building that from the ground up. So how far will you go, and how far can we go together? Thank you.